Hey, Dave with Align Therapy here. I wanted to talk about 3 specific exercises that you can do to get ready for running season. If you're anything like me over the winter and over the holidays and everything like that, my running takes a back seat. Not just because of holidays, but I like to switch to skiing in the winter. And then as running season comes upon me, I realize that I'm not in shape like I was. So cardiovascularly, I start to needing to ramp that up. But a big thing is keeping the muscles, the right muscles, strong to avoid injury. And so I thought I'd just share the top 3 exercises that you can do today to prep for your ramping up of your running. Lately, I'm seeing a lot of ultramarathoners and marathoners, and they're starting to increase their mileage and increase the distance that they're doing. And I'm noticing a consistent problem of knee pain because of hip weakness. I'm noticing hamstring strains because the glutes aren't taking the load for what they should be doing. I'm just seeing some consistent injuries, so I thought I would go over specifics on some things that you can do to address those before they become an issue. And as you ramp up your running, if those muscles are stronger, then they'll be able to do more work for you. So without causing issues other places. So let's go through those 3. The first exercise is a sidestepping exercise. If you've been a patient in my clinic, this is one of my favorites. So putting a band around your ankles, and then we're just going to do sidestepping, a little bit of a bend in the knees, and you're going to step sideways, stepping to the point where you can feel some tension in your hips. We're working the gluteus medius, we're working the TFL, some of those muscles through the sides. You can do some variations on this. Just walking straight sideways with a little bend in your knees will usually get those burning, but you can also turn your toes in a little bit to bias those external rotators a little bit more. That usually gets me burning pretty good. Turning your feet out, usually I don't feel as much because the hip flexors start to kick in a little bit more, but some people like to do kind of a squat side step. That's also fine. All those get different muscles. So if I had to suggest one or the other, I'd do a variety. Hitting different muscle fibers, toes in as you go, toes straight, knees a little bit bent, going into a squat as you do it. All those things are great. Just make sure as you go you're not tipping your trunk like this, because that's a compensation. Make sure you're not dragging your foot. That's also a compensation for weak muscles. So you can combine these with monster walks, which are going forward and out. So I like to go forward with these, and I like to also go backward with monster walks. And then you're just getting muscles all around the hips. So that's one for that wasn't supposed to happen. But that's one for sidestepping. Let me see if I can fix the camera here. Okay, so number 2 exercise. I really like single leg deadlifts because they work the glutes, the hamstrings, they work balance at the same time, and they're a very functional movement. And I like doing movements where we're doing a resistance against gravity. So standing on one leg, hold the weight in the opposite hand from the leg you're standing on, and then you're just going to go forward, a little bit of a bend in the knee, going forward and coming back up. I like to do it without touching the foot in between repetitions. So going forward and back up, just letting the weight pull down towards the floor. Notice I'm working my balance, I'm working my glutes, my hamstrings. Everything's working in a coordinated manner to add stability through my hip. You can progress these to where you're doing more weight. You can do where you're doing them a little faster, kind of like you're running, but don't go too fast. We still want good quality of motion. So again, I'll switch sides. Standing on one leg, weight in the opposite hand. We go forward and back up. Back leg kicks up behind you. Oh, I lost it. And we get a lot of work. One of my favorite progressions with this, just as a side note, is taking a TheraBand, wrapping it around the standing leg, and pulling that to the inside. So then, as you're doing a single leg deadlift, your knee is being pulled to the inside. So these muscles here have to keep that out. So that's kind of a progression. It doesn't need to pull very hard to really get those muscles kicked in more on the side. So that is a single leg deadlift. Now we get into the glutes a little bit more. So laying on your back, I do like a bridge with a ball. So bridging up with the hips and focusing on squeezing the glutes. You can put your arms across your chest to make this a little bit harder. And the ball should be close to your knees so that you're getting the glutes. If the ball's too far out, we get a lot of hamstring. So we want that close to the knees. If that's too easy and you've put your arms across your chest and it's still too easy, put your hands back down, put the leg in the middle of the ball and hold your other leg up. And then you can do single leg ball bridges, focusing on squeezing your glutes. I want those glutes to be squeezing. You'll feel it through the glutes, you'll feel it through the low back, but try not to go just hamstrings with this. You can do this with your arms across your chest. It just takes a little more stability, and that's a good way to kick in those glutes. So that's 3 specific exercises that you can do starting today. I would do this before you get into your runs, along with intervals and tempo runs and fartleks and other stuff like that. But keeping the hips strong, and that will really help avoid a lot of the injuries we see in runners. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that helps you have some ideas on how to cross-train. A lot of triathletes and ultramarathoners and runners that I see don't really cross-train, and I think the injuries that come on because of those things can be avoided with a little bit of cross-training. If you have other questions, I've done other videos on running exercises. You can check out our other videos. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you can see the things that we're doing most recently and other exercises. I'll probably do a video about running and scoliosis, since we treat a ton of scoliosis and spinal deformities. We'll talk about running and how that correlates with scoliosis as we get a little bit more into running season. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.